Hello, it's Peter Wright and Kathleen Beauvais with the first weekly wrap-up episode of the Yakking Show for 2024. So before we get into details, we want to wish everyone a happy new year and hopefully all your wishes and dreams come true in 2024. But let's welcome Kathleen to start things rolling. Hi, Kathleen. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Peter, and Happy New Year to you, my friend.
And to you. Thank you. I've got a little secret out here that Kathleen gave me a Christmas present that was full of delicious goodies. And I tend to be a bit of a pig with candies and chocolates and stuff like that, but I managed to stretch it out, and it lasted until after the new year, your lovely hamper, which I'm very grateful for. So
Glad you
let's get
enjoyed it.
let's get going. So welcome everybody. Excuse me. And we have on Tuesday this week, we published our first video episode and audio episode for 2024. Our guest was Daniel Gomez. He's an award-winning motivational keynote speaker, a business coach, a corporate trainer, an executive coach, and podcaster of the year recipient. Daniel speaks and coaches clients all over the world. He's the international best-selling author of the book "You Were Born to Fly," a book written to inspire leaders. And I must say that Daniel is dynamic and pure magic. He was just a live wire and so
Yes, it
easy to
was.
listen to. He was really good, and he does a lot for charity, which you'll find out more when you listen or watch the episode. So that was Tuesday. Thursday, today, we have already published a special episode. Back in 2021-22, we created premium episodes for a premium membership. And these are longer 1-hour episodes with transcripts, and we reserve them, as I say, for premium members. But we decided to open them up for a whole audience. So this is the first one published today. It was with David Freyden, who's a excellent guy and a lecturer on marketing strategy, and his company is called Spice Catalyst. So you will find that. We'll put details in the newsletter. We will be releasing one of these every week for the next, I think it's 10 weeks, or not next week. We have a special guest for a second episode on Thursday, which Kathleen will talk about in a moment. But after that, every Thursday, there'll be one of our former premium content, longer episodes released for your enjoyment. So that was what we did this week. Now let's get on to some health stuff. Oh no, Kathleen's got an interesting cat story first. What was your cat thing?
Oh, yes. Well, this is kind of interesting. Somebody gave this to me for Christmas, one of my friends, and it's one of these little calendars that have the little sayings on them. So you tear off a sheet every day, and and this happens to be about cats. But today's was quite interesting. It says studies have shown that cats react best to classical music, while rock and heavy metal stresses them out. So any cat lovers out there you go. Play some classical music while you're out
Oh,
at work. It'll calm your feline friend down.
that's right. So I've got to tell you quickly that I started teaching myself to play the guitar about 8 years ago, having been told as a kid that I'd never be able to play a musical instrument. So when Kathleen mentioned this cat one about classical music this morning, I had to tell her that when I started practicing on the guitar, as soon as I took it out the case, we had 8 cats. We now have 6. They'd all disappear. But earlier this week, I sat for about 30 minutes playing, and our big fat black cat called Pepper was sitting right next to me on her hotspot above the heating duct in the floor, and she didn't run away. So either she's getting deaf or my playing is improving, one of the two. And then, Kathleen, and listeners, before we get into the health side, something that absolutely shocked us this week was the treatment of one of our independent journalists, David Menzies from Rebel News. I mean, he was behaving himself trying to interview
Just
a
being a
minister, in fact,
journalist.
deputy prime minister, and he was attacked by police and set up and banged into a wall, arrested and carted off in a cruiser. Isn't that disgusting?
Oh my goodness. And thankfully it was all caught on camera, because the police officer that was involved charged him with assault. He said, "You assaulted me," when in fact it was the opposite. The officer deliberately bumped into him so that he can pull him out and arrest him. Now, I think the charges have since been dropped against the journalist, but my goodness, talk about an abuse of power. By the way, Peter, I have the utmost respect for most police, the police force and firefighters. I just have a lot of respect for them, because We need them. We absolutely need them. But once in a while, you come across these incidents where you think, no, 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 this has gone above what they should be doing, right?
Absolutely.
Mhm.
And thankfully for David Menzies, that video was put on social media. And as of yesterday morning, it had been viewed around the world 12 million times, right? So
Yeah.
the police had no option to back down. And the leader of the opposition party has called for an inquiry into the incident because this was blatant abuse of power.
That's
Anyway, that was that. So let's get on to the health side. Kathleen, do you want to start off with the health side?
Well, first, let's let the audience know a little bit about who's coming next week in terms of our guests.
Yes,
We are
yes.
publishing. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited about this, folks, because this is an interview Peter and I did a few weeks ago with Dr. Robert Morse. He is a world-renowned naturopath who has a beautiful, beautiful clinic in Florida. He has helped thousands of people all over the world regain their health. And so we have such respect for him. And it was the longest interview that we've ever had. It goes for an hour and a half, but I tell you, it goes like this because we talk about so many different health conditions. We delve into spirituality as well. And he's a fascinating man. Wasn't he compelling? Just an
Oh
absolute
yeah, absolutely. Some of the
man.
things
Just love
he
him.
had to say. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Everyone, you've got to watch that one.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. So we're building it up for good reason because this is one that you won't want to miss. And talking about Dr. Morse, I mentioned to you during this interview that I follow his protocol and followed and still follow a lot of his protocols that he's provided me because I think he's been wonderful at bringing me back to good health. But one of the things that I found really interesting, and I've mentioned this before in some of our wrap up, is this salve. It's called the Ultimate Salve, and it's well used now. It looks kind of there. You can see it.
hmm
And I've been applying it, and I'm just going to share this with you. But I had this nodule on my abdomen, and I thought, oh, this isn't good. What is this? And it wasn't going away. And as I said, it was lingering on for months, and I kept applying some of that salve. And eventually, what happened is this thing it dried up and fell off, and now everything's gone just by using this salve. So
Wow,
yeah, it's been wonderful, Peter. If you were wanting to get your hands on this, we'll provide a link in the video below. And another thing, Peter, you and I were talking about, you were asking me what I used for mouth rinse the other day,
that's right.
right?
Yes, yes.
And the reason
Because
being,
the reason being that I read an article saying, "Is mouthwash ruining our health?" And it's a really good article. We'll put a link to it in the newsletter and in the description of this video. But the widespread use of popular mouth rinse is under scrutiny as dental and medical professionals caution against their indiscriminate use. And what they're saying is that mouthwash can kill the good bacteria that we need in our bodies, and that can affect the bacteria in our gut. And once we interfere with the bacteria in our gut, we are opening ourselves up to all sorts of problems, from heart issues to digestive issues to everything else. And what this article goes on to say is there's natural mouthwashes have been around for 2,700 years
Mhm.
for treating gum disease and a few other things. So it's a
Right,
really good article. We'll put a
right.
link in there.
And what I
And
told you was that I use a mouth rinse that is a coconut oil base. It has
right,
aloe in it and some, I believe, tea tree oil as well. And that's what I use. But then it reminded me that I had a book on my bookshelf called Oil Pulling Therapy. And
and this, sorry, that's got nothing to do with fossil fuels, though, has it? Oil pulling. Oh, that's oil drilling. Sorry,
yeah, yeah, no, wrong thing completely. It's called Oil Pulling Therapy,
pulling.
and it's by Dr. Bruce Fife. And we'll put an Amazon link for you to go and pick this up because it's actually quite interesting. They advocate the use of coconut oil and just swishing the oil in your mouth for at least 10 minutes. And you'd be surprised at what you might spit out. But what's interesting is I'll give you, uh, it says here, the process of doing that, which is oil pulling, you just put it in your mouth, you swish it in your mouth, and then you spit after a while. The process is said to cure about 30 systemic diseases, ranging from relatively minor problems like bad breath and headaches to more serious conditions such as asthma and diabetes.
Wow.
Right.
Interesting.
Yes.
Interesting.
Right.
So that's a good one. Good. And
All
then the only other, well, I picked up a lot of health stuff this week. Too much to talk about in one show, but I found very interesting that something called Oxymel says drink Oxymel to fight asthma, inflammation, and obesity. This again is a remedy. It's a mixture of vinegar, preferably apple cider vinegar, and honey with certain herbs dissolved into it. And that's been around for thousands of years. And there's 1,200 different types of Oxymel depending on what you're trying to treat. But I found that quite fascinating that the one that they recommend it for is for migraine headaches, believe it or not. So we'll put a link to that one in there as well for you. And that's about it. We will have 2 shows next week. We'll leave you in suspense for the first one, but the second one, as Kathleen said, is Dr. Morse. And that's it from me. Over to you, Kathleen.
All right. Well, thank you all so very much for tuning in, and we will see you again next week. But if anyone is interested in being a guest on our show, we invite you to visit us at theyakkingshow.com, where you will find a contacts page, and there's a short application form for you to fill out, which won't take you any time at all. And we would love to hear from you. So until next time, take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. Bye.